our own ends, in short, of ourselves and our respect for ourselves. This amounted to the dominant rhetoric of the age, which some called sharing, which partook of modes of oratory and of polemic, of intimate journals and of statements from on high issued by public figures whom at one time or another we all mistook ourselves for. Anyway, it wasn't working. None of it was working. Not our ostentation and not the uses we put our suffering to, the guilt and schadenfreude-based attention we extracted from our friends and followers, and even the passing sensation of true sincerity, of actual truth, quickly emulsified into the great and the terrible metastasizing whole, to the point it began to seem wisest to publish only within the confines of our own flesh. But our interiors had their biometrics too, and were functions not only of stardust, the universe, as we now were prone to addressing the Godhead, but also of every mean and median of the self-same vicious culture that drove us to retreat into the jail of our own bones and the cramped confines of our swollen veins and ducts in the first place. Our skin was the same wall they talked about on the news, and our hearts were the bombs whose threat never withdrew. Images could drop from above, like the pendulum in the pit and the pendulum, or killer drones to shatter the face of our lover into contemporaneous pasts, futures, celebrities, and other lovers, all of whom our attention paid equally in confusion and longing, and a fleeting sense, like passing ghosts, of a barely remarked upon catastrophe that was over both before and after it was too late. We were ancient creatures, built for love and war. Everything said so. And we could not face how abstract it was all becoming, because it was also all the opposite of abstract. It was our flesh, our mother's bloodied forehead on the floor of Penn Station, and wherever we hid our face, amid a crowd of stars, for example, as Yeats once put it, and for stars insert celebrities or astrology here, your choice. And even when we closed our eyes, all this was all we looked at, every day, all day. It was all we could see. We were lost in a language of images. It was growing difficult to speak, yet talk was everywhere. Some of us still sought to dominate one another intellectually, others physically, still others psychically, or some of all of the above, everything seeming to congeal into bad versions of sports by other means, and sports by that time was the only metaphor left that could acceptably be applied to anything. The images gave us no rest, yet failed over and over, despite the immensity of their realism, to describe the world as we really knew it, and worse, as it knew us. Silicosis. By the 7 concentric walls of Ecbatana, and by the ravishing anguish of living with which no commiseration comes from the high authorities, I wish to praise the shining altar set with mangoes in the back of the nail salon, and the acts of healing and generosity being transacted there. Haboob. I would tell you I edited out what I didn't want to see there, but it persisted behind my eyes. One man punched a rhinoceros-like man with his robot arm. A woman was having her makeup done. "I'm so nervous," she said. She did not appear nervous. She